for craft gin, spirits in general, is starting to get pretty crowded, if not even overcrowded in certain areas such as the UK, where you're from. How does one differentiate oneself in an industry that's so crowded? Like, how do you manage to get sales?
So interestingly, I was reading an article released by the government not too long ago about micro distilleries and how they've kind of boomed hugely.
The UK government.
In the UK, yeah, exactly. So the gin boom, for example, started mainly in Spain. Like, England is very much known for the gin and tonic. It's quintessentially British. But the Spanish are the people that kind of really took it on board, and the elaboration of a gin tonic taking 15 minutes is very much a Spanish thing.
Okay.
And that's really where kind of like the market is fully saturated. In England, we're still growing in terms of distilleries. So from the law changing, which kind of changed the legal limit size of a still, there was a massive boom in micro distilleries. And that's, even the term didn't exist before the law changing in 2007. So since 2010, the number of distilleries has increased by 300%.
Okay.
Which means there's about 275 distilleries now in the UK, which is huge. You know, it's not a British gin. It's not a regional gin. It's a town gin now. You know, there's kind of every area has their own gin.
So is that how you stand out now, by being from your town, or is it quality or gimmicks or something that you do that is how you kind of stand out and manage to get out there?
Yeah, for us, we were one of the first. We actually set up before they changed the law. So Chase Distillery was set up in 2007. Right. The law changed just later in 2008.
Okay.
So that means that we were one of the first to do it. We also are one of the first distilleries, or first UK distillery, to be single estate.
Okay.
Which is to produce all of our spirit on the same site.
As you said, there's 275 distilleries. As a sort of knowledgeable observer, what is the way that you've seen that, if not just the company that you represent, but in general, what do people do? Are you seeing some very gimmicky ways of standing out and getting sales, or are people still just trying to sell themselves based on quality?
The norm in the UK alone, and from many countries, is to buy a neutral grain spirit. Normally it's grain because you have a much higher yield. It's much cheaper, as we found out. It's a lot more hard work to make spirits from potatoes. But the norm would be from grain, and you would buy a neutral grain spirit from a master distiller. For a master distillery, and then you will choose your botanicals and you will distill into a gin, and then your brand, and then you sell, it's absolutely fine. And there are very many distilleries doing this, and to a good quality, to a different taste. But we have chosen to take another method and to really kind of give a whole end to end, from seed to bottle story.
So you say this single estate. What does it actually mean? Is it a little bit like the terroir in wine, where like you're getting your specific flavors, not just from the flavor, but like the actual place where things are grown? Is that it?
Yeah, the terroir is very important just for potatoes, as it is for grapes.
Is that something that you feel in the sort of distillery world, as we get more crowded, as we get more saturated, the way that people stand out is not only by having great spirit, but like by the fact that what they have is from where they're from, and soon the fact that you'll be Herefordshire gin, or we might have Yorkshire gin, or we might have sort of Cornwall gin, like those would actually taste different purely based on the fact that they were grown there.
Well, no, because, for example, Yorkshire gin, Cornwall gin, are likely not to produce their own base spirit.
But in theory, if single estate were to spread there...
If it were to spread, yes, you would have a different taste.
Okay.
But it's very hard. In gin, it's very hard to control and very hard to... Not to control, to measure. Because, you know, all your spirit kind of processing to make a gin will make different flavours.
Okay.
The botanicals you choose, the method you choose, the water... down to the water. Like, our water comes from our own aquavit, so we have control of the pH. We balance every kind of bottle, because it's not like a wine. You can't have a gin tasting like a different vintage.
Oh, I suppose you could try.
You can actually. There is one in Ireland who does do different vintages per season. But it's it's normally expected that you buy one gin 1 week, one gin the next month, and
it'll
it's
be
the same.
Okay.
And that's measured through the water. But yeah, it is possible, and definitely what I've noticed, I have done a comparison between different potato spirits, which there are very few because it's hard, and there is a notable difference in the different tastes.
Okay.
And I believe that does come from terroir. It comes from the processing of distilling, whether they filter, whether they don't.
Okay.
So I don't think it would be possible for every distillery to become a single estate. Just as in England, if we wanted every single chicken that was consumed to be free range, we would have to give the whole of the UK up to chicken farming, because that's a lot of chicken.
Yeah.
If everybody wanted to be single estate, like how many distilleries we have in the UK which are based in London, where are they going to grow all their grain? Where are they going to grow all the potatoes?
That makes an interesting point, actually. Do you see the industry crashing at some point, where we're going to be seeing your 275? Is that sustainable, or are we going to see in the next decade?
100%. Yeah.
Like you're going to cut down to about 100, maybe.
Yeah, no, this is a gin boom, right?
Yes.
This gin boom started, let's say, 2012, maybe early days, 2010, 11. It can't just be sustained, but that's also because trends move. Like, I've already seen vodka growing as a trend. Vodka's kind of just that stagnant thing which everybody drinks, but it hasn't really had its time. Whiskey, huge. Rum, growing ever more. Pisco, Mezcal, they're always going to be niche markets, but they're definitely becoming more popular. But gin, I don't think gin's ever going to be the thing which is like on the back bar and no one drinks it. It's always going to have its kind of moment. But there are just so many distilleries and so many people kind of entering into this market. I don't think it's sustainable, but what you're looking at is the volumes which they're hoping for and expecting. The local distillery around the corner is not planning to be the next Pernod or Diageo. It's not expecting those volumes, and whether they're just happy being a small local gin, and that's great, and that's kind of it's opened up that possibility. And that connection with the product, that artisanal connection, and that's what Will really wanted to kind of install.
I suppose the future for those, when the eventual crash comes, is to move towards a single estate and starting to bring the local terroir more to the forefront.
It's just about whether it's feasible. Because, without naming, you've got 3 in the very centre of London. Volume-wise, in single estate, it's impossible. In terms of the volumes they're doing, and they're from wheat, but single estate does work if you buy up a huge farm and you plant loads of grain, and then. But there is a big brand who has done a single estate vodka, but it's very hard in terms of a huge multinational. But also, some people it isn't the priority. The priority or the focus is more on their botanicals. And maybe some they might grow their own botanicals, for example, which is something we're hoping to do.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your answers. Kirkas, Hetki, tässä on kertaa. Ciao.